ServiceNow for sponsoring this event. Much appreciated. And hello, everyone from wherever you are. I have no slides, and I'm doing that as a visual purpose. I've been in IT for 50 years, and for 50 years, I've had to keep up with the stuff that is running stuff. And I've also had to know where that stuff was running. And if I couldn't see it, which became more and more the fact as we started to diversify and started to put things onto the internet, then went to virtual and then went to cloud, well, it became more difficult to see the stuff that was running the stuff over the stuff that we had. So very similar to doing a presentation without slides. If you don't know what you have and where you have it and what it's doing and how it's behaving, well, how are you going to operate it? And that's what, to me, that's what ITOM is all about. This IT operations management, this IT device security, cloud, server, software, supplier, business continuity, security, management. That's what ITOM to me is all about. It has been for the last half century. Boy, it sounds like a long time when I say it like that. I won't do that again, that hurt. Think about it. Today, you have all kinds of device and monitoring tools. And if they can tell you very quickly that you have a situation that you need to be aware of, then you've started to be able to manage the event, hopefully before it becomes a tragedy. If you don't have proper monitoring in place, then, well, you can do all kinds of things. You can come up within your service level agreement, but if I could just ask people, please, to stay on mute, then that would be great. This session is being recorded. If you don't have proper monitoring and event management in place, then the tragedy is that your customers are going to be impacted. And when I first started in IT, we didn't have this great way of trashing people very quickly all over the world called Twitter or social media. We became known that we were having issues because our phones started to light up at the security desk, at the service desk, inside the CIO's office. So how do you know what you have and where you have it? How do you know what stuff is running which stuff? How do you know where that stuff is? And how do you keep it safe? This is everything that's involved in ITOM. What Stephen and Mark and Martin are going to discuss is taking this to a finer detail and giving you some really great examples. But what I want to do is just share a couple of stories based on my experience. So I always like starting with the service desk, because for me, the service desk is not only the face of IT, it's where the customers come in, it's where the customers really learn about you as a supplier to their needs. But the service desk is also where the truth is. The service desk information as a CIO is the greatest place to be able to figure out, hey, this is what our customers are asking for. So this is what we should be doing to build things. And so it underpins our strategy. It underpins what budget we have, and it lets us know how we should fund. So if we're working on something and we figure out, well, actually, the customers don't want that anymore, they've moved on, we can very quickly stop that particular sprint or stop that piece of work and refocus our budget and our funding to something that people really want. So the service desk is a great place to figure out not only what's going wrong, but to help you drive what you could be doing going into the future. And I'm sure that COVID brought this to bear for a lot of people. As they started to look at the way that they worked within their organization and how IT could help them, then they used the concepts of IT operations management, ITOM, to be able to quickly change the way that they worked and make use of the digital software and hardware that's now available. And because of that, they were able to do this thing called digital transformation. Maybe you went and allowed your operations team to code. I've been coding for 50 years, even though I'm in operations. You code the way that you monitor, you code the way that you alert, you code the way that you build servers or services. And you put that into terms that are now known as microservices or containers. But those things are then used to very quickly set a common way of you building and providing products and services to your customers. But more importantly, it builds a common way of having continuity in your business. I mean, that is what business continuity is all about. That big, long Excel spreadsheet that you used to fill in business continuity when you did your business impact analysis, that's no longer a viable alternative. If you go down and you take your business down, you need to be able to quickly bring it back up again. And those single points of failure are now multiple points of failure that very quickly can escalate. So before you go live with stuff, you need to be able to figure out that that stuff is going to work correctly, and you know how to make that stuff come back if it has an issue. So no defects go live. Great DevOps and Agile and IT service management principle that's been around for many years. Incident management. Sensing and responding what's happening in the incident management world, being able to have the right people go and swarm on that incident when it occurs, being able to test the way that you're going to resolve or at least mitigate that incident and approve that change into your infrastructure, into your software platforms. And what about when you have suppliers? So service integration and management and supplier integration and management, SIAM. Your suppliers have things that they give you. And if you're using things like SaaS, software as a service, well, that's part of your ITOM world as well. Holistically, whatever you do to be able to use technology that helps staff work and helps customers interface with you, that's part of the ITOM world. And what you have to do as part of this ITOM world is you have to make it better, improve it all the time based on the new technologies that are coming out. You have to make it safer. You have to watch the permissions that you give to individuals. You have to watch the information and security permissions that you give to IT people. We are the most dangerous people in your organization. We do make mistakes, and our mistakes can take you down. Our mistakes can actually cost you a fine or take you in front of court if people lose money because of something that we did. So all of this is still part of ITOM. ITOM cuts across everything that you do. And I know that people are going... Sorry, hello? I know that people are trying to go to something called no-ops, but to me, no-ops is not possible. Somewhere, someone in your organization has to be accountable for the way that stuff runs on stuff. It might not be your stuff. That's fine. You still have ITOM in place. It might be someone else's stuff. It might be a hybrid mix of a lot of people's stuff. But you still have the obligation to your staff and to your customers to manage that stuff, all of your operations environment, all of the software that runs on your operations environment, all the services and products, all of that is now part of your world. So the concept of no-ops isn't possible. If you think about it, if you said no-ops, and you really believe that that's right, does that mean that you're going to throw away all your service level agreements? That you're not going to have services that are predominant and critical in your organization? I mean, how does that work if you're in that type of world? I think the most exciting thing that's happening now in the world of ITOM is AIOps, artificial intelligence. Wow, that was just so awesome To be able to know what you have, event and monitoring and alerting is one thing. To be able to have software that is able to take that and really give you real-time information and help you create a way of testing that next new thing that you want and what would happen if this particular event occurred. So I'll give you an example, and it's nothing against the BBC. It just wasn't possible for them to know this and build this at the time. But this is an example of artificial intelligence. We have a program here in the UK where people go back and look in time at the history of their family. Who do you think you are? And at the very end of the program, the very end of the very first program, a little voice comes on and says, for more information, please go to www. And they finished that, and within 5 minutes, they had 1 million hits. And of course, they went down. They don't do that today, though. Now, when that happens, because of artificial intelligence, the artificial intelligence is keeping up with what's happening. And the artificial intelligence kicks off scripts from your microservices or your containers and fires up more stuff so that whatever your customers want is now going to be more available, because that's the great thing about cloud in the world of ITOM. You're now able to quickly go up, and scale down again in the world of ITOM by taking advantage of knowing what's happening and where it's happening and why it's happening. And so artificial intelligence to me is quite important, and the others will speak about that. I'm going to turn over to my good friend James. I wanted to get people to start thinking about various things. I've given you some concepts and principles to, begin to get your mind going about some of the stuff that we have. But James will start, and then, as Mark says, we'll enter a period of 20 to 30 minutes of conversation where we as speakers will go into the different rooms and listen to you, but we'll also ask you questions about various events that have occurred or how you're managing the stuff that's running on stuff over stuff. So thank you for that. I hope this introduction was useful, and over to you, James.